Hello, and a very warm welcome to each one of you. And today we are on day 4 of 7 days of Shape Your Life challenge. Hmm. Today we are diving into day 4, and that is talking about financial destiny. This is an energizing and eye opening chapter because Tony Robbins reminds us that financial freedom is not about luck, it's about awareness, intelligent actions, and aligning with where the world is going, not where it has been. Okay. So, day one पे we talked about emotional destiny. We learned that emotions is the foundation of all actions. Day two पे हमने बात करी थी physical destiny के बारे में. Our energy shapes our experiences in life. Then on day three, yesterday we talked about relationship destiny, which talked about our relationships determine the richness of our life. And today we are stepping into financial destiny. Let me very quickly start sharing the screen so that we can read together. I'll be reading the entire chapter first, and then we will be diving into understanding the key points of this chapter. All right. So here we go. Chapter 22, Financial Destiny, Small Steps to a Small or Large Fortune. Day 4. Your outcome. Take control of your financial future by learning the 5 foundational elements of establishing wealth. Money, it's one of the most emotionally charged issues of our lives. Most people are willing to give up things that are much more valuable than money in order to get more of it. They will push themselves far beyond their past limitations, give up time with their family and friends, or even destroy their health. Money is a potent source associated to both pain and pleasure within our society. Too often, it is used to measure the difference in the quality of lives, to magnify the separation of the haves and have nots. Some people try to deal with money by pretending it doesn't matter. But financial pressure is something that affects us all every day of our lives. For the elderly, especially, a lack of money often translates into lack of critical resources. For some people, money holds mystery. For others, it is the source of desire, pride, envy, and even contempt. Which is it really? Is it the maker of the dreams or the root of all evil? Is it a tool or a weapon? A source of freedom, power, security, or merely a means to an end? I would love for you to reflect on it. What is it for you? What is money to you? You and I know intellectually that money is merely a medium of exchange. It allows us to simplify the process of creating, transferring, and sharing value within society. It is a convenience that together we have created in order to allow ourselves the freedom to specialize in our life's work without having to be concerned as to whether others will find our work worthy of barter. We have learned to associate some of the most deliberating emotions of the scarcity of this commodity: anxiety, frustration, fear, insecurity, worry, anger, humiliation, and being overwhelmed, to name but a few. As we are now witnessing in the East Europe, political systems have been top, toppled by the pressure associated with financial deprivation. Can you think of any country, any corporation, or anyone's life, personal life, that has not been touched by the experience of financial stress? Many people make the mistake of thinking that all the challenges in their lives would dissipate if they had enough money. Nothing could be further from the truth. earning more money in and of itself rarely frees people. It's equally ridiculous to tell yourself that greater financial freedom and mastery of your finances would not offer you greater opportunities to expand, share, and create value for yourself and others. So, why do so many people fail to achieve financial abundance in a nation where economic opportunities surround us? We live in a country where people can create net worths in the hundreds of millions, starting with the little idea for a computer that they first built in their garage. All around us, there are role models of unbelievable possibility, people who know how to create wealth and maintain it. What is it that keeps us from getting wealth in the first place? How can it be living in a capitalist country where our forefathers died for the right of life, liberty, and the pursuits of happiness, where economic reforms was a major stimulus for independence, that 95% of American population by age 65, after a lifetime of work, cannot support themselves without help from government or family. As I've pursued the key to build lasting wealth, one thing becomes clear: creating wealth is simple. Yet most people never build it because they have holes in their own financial foundation. These can be found in the form of internal value and belief conflicts, as well as poor plan that virtually guarantee financial failure. This chapter will not provide you with everything you need to know to master your entire financial life. It would certainly take more than a chapter to do that, but it is designed to give you some simple fundamentals that you can use to take immediate control of this critical, important area. All right. Are we clear on what we are going to read today? Do you understand what are we doing here? How money cannot buy everything, but still it is a source of, it is a means, it is a mean to enjoy life. Let's begin by remembering the power that our beliefs have to control our behavior. The most common reason most people do not become financially successful is that they have mixed associations to what it would take to have more money, as well as what it would mean to have excess money. For that is money beyond what they need to support their current lifestyle. As you learned in chapter 5, your brain knows. Where did I go? Your brain knows what to do only when it has a clear association about what it needs to avoid and what it needs to move towards. For money, we often send mixed signals, and so we get mixed results. We tell ourselves that money will provide us freedom, a chance to give to those we love, a chance to do all those things we have always dreamed about, a chance to free up our time. Yet, simultaneously, we believe that in order to accumulate an abundance of money, we have to work so much harder and spend so much more time that we would probably be too old and tired to enjoy it. Or we may believe that if we have excess money, we won't be spiritual, or we will be judged, or someone will swindle us out of it anyway. So why even try? These negative associations are not limited to ourselves. Some people resent anyone who is doing well financially, and often they assume that if someone has made a lot of money, he or she must have done something to take advantage of others. If you find yourself resenting someone who is wealthy, what message does that send to your brain? It's probably something like having excess money is bad. If you harbor these feelings for others, you are subconsciously teaching your mind that for you to do well would make you a bad person. By resenting others' success, you condition yourself to avoid your financial abundance that you need and desire. So what exactly does that mean? अगर आप किसी के साथ resent करते हो who have a lot of money, that means you are and you feel that they are a bad person, you are telling to the universe that the people who have a lot of money are bad people, and I don't want to be bad, and thereby I don't want to be wealthy. You get that? The second most common reason why so many people never master money is simply that they think it's too complex. They want to expert. They want an expert to handle it for them. While it's very valuable to get an expert coaching, which is why we created our own financial company, Destiny Financial Service, we all must be trained to understand the consequences of our financial desires. If you excessively depend upon someone else, no matter how competent they are, you will always have them to blame for what occurs. But if you take responsibility for understanding your finances, you can begin to direct your own destiny. ठीक है? So it is not complicated, it is simple, it is easy. You need to learn it. You cannot rely on others, because when something goes wrong, it will be all onto you. All right? Everything in this book is based upon the idea that we have the power to understand how our mind, bodies, and emotions work. And because of this, we have the capacity to exert a great deal of control over our destinies. Our financial world is no different. We must understand it and not limit ourselves by beliefs about the complexity of finances. Once you understand the fundamentals, mastering money is a fairly simple matter. So, the first task I gave you in taking control of your financial world is to utilize the NAC, Neuro Associative Conditioning Technology, to condition yourself for financial success. Become clearly associated with all the great things you could do for your family and the peace of mind you would feel if you had true economic abundance. Likho, likho. I'm waiting for you. I would love for you to actually write about it. अगर आपके पास बहुत सारे पैसे आ जाते हैं, what is it that you are going to do with it? The third major belief that keeps people from succeeding financially and create tremendous stress is the concept of scarcity. Most people believe they live in a world where everything is limited. There is only so much available land, so much oil, so many quality homes, so many opportunities, so much time. With this philosophy of life, in order for you to win, somebody else has to lose. It is a zero-sum game. If you believe this, the only way you become financially successful is to follow the approach of the robber barons of the early 1900s and corner the market by the popular products so that you get percent of something while everyone else has to split the remaining 5%. The truth of the matter, however, is that cornering scarce supply no longer guarantees lasting wealth. A good friend of mine is economist Paul Pilzer, a Wharton Business School graduate who has become quite famous in his economic theory of alchemy. Paul has recently written a book that I highly recommend. The title itself reflects the core belief and the evidence he has to back it up. We live in resource rich environment. He called it unlimited wealth. Paul points out that we are in a unique time of human history where the traditional ideas of obtaining scarce physical resources is no longer the primary arbiter of wealth. Today, technology determines the value of physical resonance and how large a supply of it actually exists. There you go. हर जमाने में नई चीज आई थी. पहले कभी कंप्यूटर आया था. कंप्यूटर से पहले कभी कोई व्हील से साइकिल बनी थी, साइकिल से कार बनी थी. कार के बाद मेट्रोज आई, ट्रेन्स आई. अब एयर बसेस भी बनी. When I interviewed him for my Power Talk audio magazine, Paul gave me a great example demonstrating how the value of resources and their availability is completely controlled by technology. And that technology thus determines the price and the value of any product or service. In the 70s, everyone was certain that we are running out of oil. In 1973, people were spending hours in the gas lines, and after sophisticated computerized analysis, the best experts in the world were predicting that we are approximately 700 billion barrels of oil left in the entire world, which at our then current rate of consumption would last 35 to 40 years. Paul said that if these experts were correct, then by 1988 we should have seen our oil reserves dwindle to 500 billion barrels. Yet in 1987, we had nearly 30% more oil than we had in 15 years earlier. In 1988, the nearly 2,000 billion additional barrel of oil was researchers now believe our new discovery and recovery techniques may be able to tap. What made this radical change in the amount of oil that was available? Two things. Certainly, our ability to find oil has been enhanced by technology, and technology has also powerfully impacted our ability to utilize oil more efficiently. Who would have thought back in 1973 that someone would come up with the idea of computerized fuel injectors that would be installed in virtually every automobile in the United States and instantly double the fuel efficiency of our cars? What's more, the computer chip cost $25 and replaced a $300 car burst. The minute this technology was developed, it instantly doubled the effective supply of gasoline and changed the relative scarcity of oil overnight. In fact, the price of oil today, adjusted for inflation and based upon the distance it will now take you with today's more fuel efficient cars, actually costs you less per mile than at any time of the history of the automobile. In addition, we live in a world where when companies or individuals begin to experience too much of economic pain, they immediately look for alternative sources to produce the results after all. Scientists all over the world are finding alternatives to use the petroleum for the powering of factories, automobiles, and even airplanes. Paul said that what happened to the Hunt brothers of Texas is a powerful example that the old strategy of cornering the market on some commodities just doesn't work anymore. When the attempted to take complete control of the silver market, they went broke. Why? One major reason is that the largest user of silver in the world is Kodak Corporation, which utilized silver in the developing process, motivated by the pain of increased prices. Kodak began to find alternative ways of processing photographs, and as a result, less silver was needed. Instantly, silver prices plunged, and the Hunts were wiped out. This is a common mistake made by some of the most powerful people in today's society who continue to operate using the old formula for creating wealth. You and I need to realize that the value of technology is purely dependent upon technology. Technology can turn a waste product into an invaluable resource. After all, there was a time when having oil on your land was a curse, but technology turned it into a source of wealth. True wealth, Paul says, comes from the ability to practice what he calls economic alchemy, which is the ability to take something that has very little value and convert it into something of significantly greater value. In medieval times, those who practiced alchemy were all trying to convert lead into gold. They failed. But in attempting this process, they laid the foundation of the science of chemistry. Oops. कहाँ चला गया? Those who have wealth today are truly modern alchemists. They have learned to transform something common into something precious and have reaped the economic rewards that come with the transformation. When you think about it, doesn't the magnificent process speed of the computer realm really reduce down the dirt to dirt? After all, silicon comes from sand. Those who have taken ideas, mere thoughts, and turned them into products and services are certainly practicing alchemy. All wealth begins in the mind. Modern alchemy has been the source of financial success for the wealthiest people in the world today, whether it is Bill Gates, Ross Perot, Sam Winton, and Steve Jobs. All of these individuals found ways to take items of hidden value, ideas, information, systems, and organize them in a way that we would enable more people to use them. As they added the value, they began to create tremendous economic empires. Let's review the 5 fundamental lessons for creating the lasting wealth. And I will immediately put you to work on beginning to take control of your financial destiny. Okay. So before we step into the 5 fundamental steps, we need to understand that wealth is created by anticipating change, not when you react to it. Every generation, to be honest, every generation has its own distribution wave. Distribution wave के बारे में हम आगे पढ़ने वाले हैं, but this is a very beautiful concept that I want to share with you. जिसके बारे में कहा जाता है कि from agriculture to industry, from industry to technology, and those who adapt early rise with it. So there is a wave. Wave goes like the up and down, up and down, and up and down. So when the wave is going up and you start with the wave, you tend to benefit more, because ये wave ऊपर जाने के बाद एक बार वापस नीचे आने वाली है, ठीक है, and then some another wave is going to rise. चलो आगे पढ़ते हैं. Let's understand the 5 fundamentals that Tony Robbins wants to share about wealth here. So, 5 fundamental lessons for creating lasting wealth are: number 1, the first key is the ability to earn more income than ever before and the ability to create wealth. I have a simple question for you. Can you earn twice as much money as you do now in the same amount of time? Can you earn 3 times as much money? 10 times? Is it possible that you could earn 1,000 times the amount of money you do now in the same amount of time? Batao. And he says, absolutely. If you find a way to be worth 1,000 times more to your company than your fellow man. The key to wealth is to be more valuable. If you have more skills, more ability, and more intelligence, specialized knowledge, a capacity to do things few others can do, or if you just think creatively, contribute on a massive scale, you can earn more than you ever thought possible. The single most important and potent way to expand your income is to devise a way to consistently add real value to people's lives, and you will prosper. For example, why is doctor paid more than a doorman? The answer is simple. The doctor adds more value. He has worked harder and developed himself so that he is worth more in terms of his capacity to add measurable value to people's lives. Anyone can open a door. A doctor opens the door of life. Why are successful entrepreneurs so well rewarded financially in our culture? It's because they add more value than virtually anyone around them. There are 2 primary benefits that entrepreneurs create. First, they obviously add value to their customers by increasing the quality of their lives through the use of their product. This, by the way, is critical for a company to prosper. So often companies forget that their real purpose for being is not just to make profits. While a profit is an absolute must for a company to survive and flourish, like eating or sleeping, a necessity, it's not the real purpose. The true purpose of any corporation is to create products and services that increase the quality of life for all the customers they serve. If this is achieved on a consistent basis, then profit is absolutely assured. However, a company can profit in the short term and not be here in the long term if it does not continually add value to people's lives. This holds true for corporations as well as individuals. The second thing that entrepreneurs do is that in creating their product, they create jobs. Because of these jobs, the employees' children can go on a higher education and become doctors, lawyers, teachers, social workers, and add more value to society as a whole. Not to mention that the fact these families spend the money that they earn with other vendors. The chain of value is never ending. When Ross Perot was asked for the secret of his wealth, he said, "What I can do for this country is create jobs. I'm pretty good at that, and Lord knows we need them." The more value you contribute, the more you will earn if you put yourself in the position to do so. The lesson is simple. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to add more value. But what you must do every day is to continually expand your knowledge, your skills, and your ability to give more. This is why self education is so critical. I became a very wealthy man at an extremely young age for one reason. I mastered skills and abilities that could instantaneously increase the quality of the life for virtually anyone. Then I figured out a way to share that information and those skills with a huge number of people in a short period of time. As a result, I have prospered not only emotionally but financially as well. If you want to earn more money where you are today, if you want to earn more money where you are today, one of the simplest ways is to do so is to ask yourself, how can I be worth more to this company? How can I help it to achieve more in less time? How could I add a tremendous amount of value to it? Are there some ways out that I could help cut cost and increase quality? What new systems could I develop? What new technology could I use that would allow the company to produce its products and services more effectively? If we can help people to do more like this, more with less, then we truly are empowering others and we will be empowered economically as well, as long as we put ourselves in the position to do so. In our Financial Destiny seminar, participants brainstorm ways they can add more value and therefore increase their income. We ask them to consider whether they have resources they have been failing to use. The key answer question to ask yourself is, how could I help touch more lives? How could I do it at a deeper level? How could I give a better quality of product or service? Inevitably, some people will say there is no way I could add more value. I'm already working 16 hours a day as it is. Remember, I did not suggest you work harder or even that you need to work smarter. When I am asking you, in what new resources could you employ that could add more value to other people? For example, I remember a massage therapist who was one of the most successful in his field in the San Diego area, and he wanted to know how he could increase his earnings when he was booked solid. He could not see one more person a day, and he was already charging the highest rates in his field. As he began to brainstorm new ideas, focusing on how he could take the sources he had to help his patients and others, he began to realize that if he could team up with someone who owned a physical therapy unit and refer his patients to who need help, he could receive a referral fees. His income is now almost double, working the same number of hours a day. All he did was find a way to add more value to both his doctor and his clients. Since he knew the doctors well and they understood his form of therapy, there was a greatest consistency of care between them and he benefited financially in the process. In Phoenix, One of the top radio salespersons is a woman whose primary marketing strategy is not merely to sell radio time, but to constantly look for opportunities to help local companies prosper. For example, the minute she hears that a new shop center is going to be built, she contacts potential vendors for the shopping center and lets them know about the opportunity, allowing them to get a jump on the market. She then contacts the developer and introduces herself as a radio station representative who works with people in their industry all the time. Just a minute. I'm so sorry about that. Let me start sharing the screen. Chalo, let's start from here. For example, the minute she hears that a new shopping center is going to be built, she contacts a potential vendor of the shopping center and lets them know about the opportunities, allowing them to get a jump on the market. She then contracts the developer and introduces herself as radio station representative who works with people in their industry all the time. Would the developer like to see the list of top vendors in their field? Out of this strategy, several things result. She's adding value beyond the radio time people would purchase to promote their companies. She found a way to give them much more than anyone else around. So they usually buy a significant portion, if not all, of their radio time from her. This motivates them to reciprocate value for value. This does not require a great deal of time, but it makes her more valuable to her customer than any other radio salesperson in the region, and her income reflects it. Even if you work on a large corporation, you can add more value. I remember a woman who was a claims professor for a hospital. She saw how slowly things were going, and knowing that claims processing was an economic lifeline of the hospital, she discovered that she could be much more efficient and potentially process 4 to 5 times as many claims as she had previously. She asked the supervisor if she could do the work of 5 people. Would they increase her salary by 50%? They said if she proved she could consistently produce results over a period of time, they would do so. Since then, not only has she increased job efficiency and her income, she has a newfound sense of pride. The key to increasing your income with your company is remembering that you can't just increase the quality of what you are doing by 50% and expect a 50% increase in income. A company must profit. The question to ask yourself is, how can I increase the value of what I do by 10 to 15%? If you do this, in most cases, you will have the trouble increasing the income. Now, let us understand the distribution wave of the future. One of the most powerful ways of adding value in the 90s and beyond is understanding that in today's society, wealth is created by distribution. Products and services are changing constantly, but those who have figured a way to taking something of tremendous value and deliver it to the mass number of people will prosper. This has been the secret of the richest man of the United States, Sam Walton. He became wealthy by creating a distribution system. Ross Perot did the same thing with information at EDS. If you can figure out how to take something that already has great value and distribute it to people or distribute it at a lower cost, then you have found another way of adding value. Adding value is not just creating products, it's finding a way to make sure that the more people experience an increase in their quality of life. But of course, if we really think about it, you and I know why people don't do well financially. Yes, they have limiting beliefs. But most importantly, there is a core belief that most people have. They should get something for nothing. Most people, for example, expect their income to grow each and every year, whether they have increased their contribution to their company or not. Raises should be tied to increased value. We can easily increase our value as long as we educate ourselves and expand our repertoire of skills. Any company that continually gives people raises without ourselves and expand, without its employees finding ways to add value is a company that is going deeper in the hole and will eventually find itself economically troubled and destroyed. If you are asking for a raise, you have got to find a way to add at least 10 times more value than what you are asking for in return. Companies too must realize that as they are looking to invest in equipment, equipment gives a limited return. As Paul Pilzer says, labor is capital. If someone makes $50,000 a year and can generate $500,000 in value, why not fake this person and increase their skills, abilities, talent, attitudes, and education so that they can add $1 million on value? A $50,000 investment that brings a $1 million return is a very, very valuable asset. There is no better investment that companies can make than in education and development of their own people. Wealth is the product of man's capacity to think. For years, I helped people throughout the nation increase the quality of their lives by taking ideas that were valuable and delivering them in a way that people can truly utilize them. By creating a technology that change and deliver it in an impactful way, I prosper. But my prosperity exploded when one day I asked myself, how can I reach more people than ever before? How can I teach? How can I reach people while I'm sleeping? As a result of those empowering questions, I discovered a way to expand my influence in a way that I had never ever considered before by offering my audio tapes through television. Oh, this is a long one, huh? This is a long chapter and a long day. That was 2 years ago. Since that time, we have now distributed over 7 million tapes of my personal power program around the world, sharing ideas and information that continue to impact people 24 hours a day. My partners at Cassette Production estimates that in the last 24 months, the amount of tapes that have been used to carry my message is enough to circle the earth 20 times at the equator. In the process, I had the joy of knowing that we not only impact the quality of life of all those who have used the tapes, but we have also provided about 75,000 hours of employment in manufacturing process. This does not include all the hours that other vendors have spent as well. You have heard many examples of how adding the value creates wealth. The formula is simple and powerful. Ask yourself, how can I add more value to any environment I am in? In your work environment, ask yourself the question, how have I made or saved my company money in the last 12 months? True contribution makes life richer. So don't limit yourself to adding value strictly for personal gains. How can you add more value in the home, in the church, in your school, in your community? If you can figure out a way to add at least 10 times more value than what you are looking for, you will always feel fulfilled. Imagine what life would be like if everyone followed your example. Number two, the second key is to maintain your wealth. Once you have an effective strategy for accumulating wealth, for earning large sums of money, how do you maintain it? Contrary to the popular opinion, you can't maintain wealth simply by contributing to earn more, continuing to earn money. We have all heard of the famous people who have made fortunes and lost them overnight. The athletes whose talents allowed them to make huge sums, but who have created lifestyles that depleted it in the moment their income changed. When their income dropped, they often had tremendous demand that they could not possibly meet and they lost it all. There is only one way to maintain your wealth, and that is simply this: spend less than you earn and invest the difference. I'll repeat that: spend less than you earn and invest the difference. Without question, although this is not a sexy principle, it is the only way to secure wealth over the long term. What never ceases to amaze me, though, is to see that no matter how much money people earn, they seem to find a way to spend it. The annual incomes of people who attend our financial destiny range from $30,000 to up to $2 million, with the average being around 1 lakh, $100,000. People from even the highest earning categories are often broke. Why? Because they make all the economic decisions based on the short term rather than the long term. They have no clear cut spending plan, much less than investment plan. They are on a course for Niagara Falls. The only possible way to build wealth is to pick a specific percentage of your income that you will invest each year upfront. Now, many people know this. We have all heard about the virtues of saving a minimum of 10% and investing it. But very few people do it. And interestingly enough, very few people are wealthy. The best way to ensure that you have been able to maintain your wealth is to have 10% taken out of your paycheck and invest before you even see it. To maintain your wealth, you must take control of your spendings, but don't develop a budget. Develop a spending plan. Wow. How's that for transformational vocabulary? Truly, if a budget is done effectively, it is a spending plan. It is a mean for you, and if you're married, you and your spouse, to decide what you want to spend money on in advance rather than get caught up in the moment. Too often, opportunities come up, and out of a sense of urgency, we make decisions that later on we regret. I can also tell you that if you and your spouse get clear plan for how much you need to spend each month in each category of life, you can save yourself a lot of argument. Unfortunately, most Americans live far beyond their means. In 1980, Americans owned over $54 billion on credit cards. By the end of 1988, the total had more than tripled to over $172 billion. This is the system that guarantees financial disaster. Be intelligent, spend less than you earn, and you will maintain your wealth. You may ask, But won't my investments cause me to grow? Yes, but you will also have to deal with inflation. You must go to the third step of creating lasting wealth. The third key is to increase your wealth. How do you accomplish this? You add another simple yet powerful factor to the equation. To the equation I just explained. In order to become wealthy, you must spend less than you earn. Invest the difference and reinvest your returns for compounded growth. Most people have heard about the exponential power of compounding, but very few understand it. Compounding allows you to put yourself in a position where your money goes to work for you. Most of us, our entire lives, to fuel the machines of our lives. Those who succeed financially are those who set aside a certain percentage of their money, invest it, and continue to reinvest their profits until they produce a source of income that is large enough to provide for all their needs without ever having to work again. We call this accumulation of capital that frees you from the necessity of work critical mass. The pace at which you achieve your financial independence is directly proportional to your willingness to reinvest, not spend, the profits of your past investments. In this way, the offsprings of your dollars will grow and multiply until you have a solid economic base. Let me offer you a simple dramatic example of the power of compounding. If you fold a cloth napkin 1 by 32 of an inch thick upon itself once, how thick is it? Obviously, it is 1/16th of an inch. Folded upon itself second time, this thickness measures 1/8 of an inch. On the third fold, it's equal to 1/4 of an inch. On fourth, half of an inch, and on the fifth fold, the thickness equals 1 inch. Here's my question for you. How many times you would need to fold this napkin upon itself, compounded it, before its thickness would touch the moon? Here's the clue. The moon is 237,305 miles away. Amazingly, you would reach the moon on the 39th fold. Ooh. By your 50th fold, theoretically, the thickness of your napkin would be enough to go to the moon and back 1179 times. Wow! This is the power of compounding. Most people don't realize that a small amount of money compounded through time can be worth a fortune. You might say, this is wonderful. I would like to begin compounding my investment, but how do I know what to invest in? There is no simple answer to this question. You must first decide what your financial goals are. What do you want to accomplish and in what period of time? What's your risk tolerance? The amount of risk that you are comfortable with without a clear understanding of your desires, your needs, and your potential concerns, what to invest in is not clear. Often, would-be investors allow financial experts to advise them, even though these experts frequently have no idea what their clients' truly needs are. The most important thing you will ever do in your financial life is to decide to truly understand the various types of investments and what their potential risks and returns are. Responsible advisors will make certain that all their current clients thoroughly understand the kind of investments that are available and that they take part in the development of their own financial plans. Without a clear-cut investment plan, you will eventually fail financially. According to financial newsletter editor Dick Fabian, evidence shows that investors in anything, make no money over a 10-year period. There are several reasons for this tragic statistics, including not setting a goal, chasing after trending investments, relying on reports from the financial press, blindly taking advice from the brokers or financial planners, making emotional mistakes, and so on. Fortunately, the answer to your financial question is easily accessible. They are available in books from the masters, from the Peter Lynch's to the Robert Preachers to the Warren Buffett. And they are effective financial coaches who can assist you in developing a plan that will help you to meet your pleasures you have in your life, that you model the best financial people. If you don't, you're going to experience pain. If you do, you can have a level of financial abundance that's far beyond what you have ever dreamed of before. Now that you really begin to create and expand your wealth, you are ready for the fourth key element of the financial success. The fourth key is to protect your wealth. So many people who have wealth are equally or more insecure today with the abundance of money than they were when they had none. People often feel less secure when they think they have more to less. Why? It's because they know that in any moment someone could sue them for completely unfair or unjust reason and discriminate their assets. Would you like to know how bad the current climate is in the United States? According to an article in the London Financial Times, June 2022, 1991, of all the lawsuits that were filed around the world in 1988 filed per year, in fact, the current statistics from the American Bar Association shows that if you live in California and make more than $50,000 a year, there is almost 1 in 4 chance that will be sued. Oh my God. From the European perspective, it seems that Americans always look for someone to blame when anything goes wrong. This is the genesis of this incredible number of lawsuits. They are harsh words, but unfortunately, they are true. The attitude is not found anywhere else in the world, and it is destroying our nation economically. Trying up our time, capital, and energy is wasteful and non productive ways. For example, as recently reported in the Wall Street Journal, a man who was driving his vehicle while drunk tried to move the shotgun at the seat next to him, and it accidentally discharged and killed him. His widow, rather than acknowledge her husband's arbitrate state, sued the shotgun manufacturer for 4 millions on the ground that the gun did not have safety device for drunk drivers and won. Knowing that the wealth that they have spent years of intense work to create could be claimed by people who have no right to it, understandably, makes most people edgy. It makes them wary of the liability of business and often impact their following through an investment decision. However, the good news is that there are legal avenues for protecting your assets as long as you have not currently involved in a lawsuit. This philosophy of protecting your assets is not one of trying to avoid your legitimate debts, but simply to protect yourself from the frivolous attacks. People with dishonest motives will sue you for only one or two reasons because they want to share of your insurance or they want to seize your assets. If there are no assets to touch, it's much more difficult for them to retain an attorney based merely on the contingency fees. If you act judiciously in advance, you can protect your assets, and the guidelines for doing so are very clear and concise. In my quest to understand finances, I began to study John Templeton of the world and began to gain distinctions on how they structure their finances in a way that protects their assets from legitimate claims. As in the any same situation in life, it's important to find out what the big players are doing and model their evaluation procedures and strategies. I spent 2 years pursuing and understanding the best asset protection system available in the United States for the doctor clientele of my fortune management company. One company misperception, one common misperception is that asset protection involves mystery and deficit. The reality is that honesty is the best policy. Your assets do not need to be hidden, just protected. If asset protection is not a major concern for you today, it will be as you begin to build your wealth. Just know that there are many things you can do to make changes in this area. And the fifth key to enjoy is to enjoy your wealth. So many people have gone through the first four stages. They have figured out how to earn wealth by adding real value. They have discovered how to maintain it by spending less and earning than they are earning. They have mastered the art of investing for experiencing the benefits of compound interest, and they now know how to protect their assets, but they are still not happy. They feel empty. The reason is that they have not yet realized that money is not end, it's only a means. You and I must make sure that we find a way to share its positive impact with the people we care about, and the money will have no value. When you discover ways to contribute that to proportionate to the income, you will tap into one of the greatest joys of life. I can tell you that unless you link a certain level of pleasure to creating value and earning money, you will never keep it long term. Most people wait until they have accumulated a certain amount of money to start enjoying themselves. This is a great way to teach your brain to link pain to wealth creation. Instead, reward yourself emotionally along the way. Occasionally, you need to give yourself a jackpot, as we talked about on chapter 6, where you give yourself financial surprise so that your brain is taught that earning money is an enjoyable and rewarding process. Also, remember the power and value of tithing. I can tell you that my financial world began to turn around the day I gave little more than $20 to someone when I really didn't have the $20 to give. That day, I felt so good about myself that the feelings alone transformed my performance and my capacity to earn even more. Most people, I will say, I will tittle when I have more money. But which do you think would be more difficult to do? To give a dime out of a dollar or to give $100,000 out of a million? The answer is obvious, isn't it? I'm not suggesting that 10% is the figure that you should in the stone, but do make a commitment to consistently take a portion of what you earn and give it in a way that gives you joy. The beauty of the thing is that by giving away a portion of your what you earn, you are teaching your brain that you have more fun of these. You will be beyond scarcity, and that belief system alone will change the life. True wealth is an emotion. It's a sense of absolute abundance. Our heritage alone makes us wealthy. We have the privilege of enjoying great works of art that we didn't paint, music we didn't compose, great educational institutions we didn't build. Feel the wealth of the nation's parks. Sorry. Feel the wealth of the nation's parks that you own. Know that you are a wealthy person now and enjoy that wealth. Realize that this is a part of your abundance, and this feeling of gratitude will always allow you to create even more. Let me simply say this to you in closing. Changing your belief and mastering your finances can be an incredibly rewarding experience in personal development. Commit yourself now to begin the process. Charity and personal force are the only investments. Whoa, that was a lot, wasn't it? What was your major takeaway? When I think of it, एक तो the talk about distribution of the wave of the future, right? Don't resist change. Ride it with awareness and purpose. Just like homemakers today are turning their passion of cooking, art, parenting, I don't know, teaching, into thriving digital ventures, those who seize opportunity in new platforms and take small, consistent actions will surf the wave instead of drowning with it. Okay? The law of value and service के बारे में बात हुई. Money flows to those who add value consistently and meaningfully. When you focus on how to serve better, not just how to earn more, financial abundance becomes inevitable. It is the byproduct of the value that you're giving. I would love for you to tell me what is the unique way you already add value in others' lives, even if it is unpaid right now. For example, if I talk about myself, I am nurturing, I'm mentoring, organizing, creating, beauty, and teaching. Teaching, itna nahi hai, but yeah. Understand that wealth is not about possession. It is a reflection of contribution. Tony Robbins से अपना ही life example दिया है, wherein Tony Robbins built his empire not by selling products, but by transforming lives. Similarly, many modern women have turned their skills into courses, books, and communities because they choose service first. Then we talked about the power of awareness and education. Financial growth begins with financial education. Understanding how money moves, multiplies, impacts society. Ignorance keeps people trapped. Awareness frees them. हम लोगों को, I have been so lame. I have been so away from understanding how the finances work. Only recently, in the beginning of 2025, I had attended a seminar of 3 days of MMI, and it was beautiful. It was amazing. It turned me around. I started tracking where is the money coming in from, where is the money going, and now I know what is my pattern. I'm looking forward to learn how to invest, what to invest in. Okay. I want to ask you, if you were to treat money as a friend, What kind of relationship do you have with it right now? Is it fearful? Is it dependent? Is it, I don't know, respectful? What is it? And एक बात बताऊं, there are so many people who says that पैसा आ जाता है. Oh, I'm so sorry. पैसा आ जाता है तो इंसान ऐसा बन जाता है. Money is not that. Money is a magnifier. It amplifies of who you are already. A woman who begins to track her expenses and starts investing small amounts or learn about digital businesses start shifting from fear to freedom. The greatest financial opportunities lies not in working harder, but in working smarter and sooner. Success belongs to those who anticipate, not just react to the next change. मुझको ये बताओ, what skills, what platforms, what ideas can you learn today that might shape your next 5 years of financial destiny? I'll repeat my question. What skills, platforms, or ideas you can learn today that might shape your next 5 years of financial destiny? The reality is the future belongs to the curious one, not the conscious. आपको risk taking ability बनानी ही पड़ेगी. अभी जब कोविड आया था तो वी ऑल लर्नड हाउ टू होस्ट द ऑनलाइन मीटिंग्स. नाउ इट इज द another wave of AI. AI, so much of it. But if you don't learn it along with the wave and start implementing it in your life, you will be left behind. People who learned online teaching before 2020 did not panic when the pandemic hit. They thrived. Those who start with clarity, creativity, and contribution will lead the next wave. I would love for you to reflect on a few things before we go on to the activity that Tony Robbins has shared. That is, what is my current wave? And am I riding it or resisting it? How can I add more value and service to the world with my skills? And what is that one new financial or digital skill I can start learning this month? Because जब तक आप अपने ऊपर काम नहीं करोगे ना, it is not going to work at all. Yeah. चलो जल्दी से let's quickly hop into what is the activity for the day, and then we'll close today's session. It has already gone beyond the time, but let's complete this. Today's assignment is take a look at your beliefs, see if there are any that are out of alignment and change them with the NAC. Institute a process by adding more value in your place of employment as a major scale, whether you have paid for it or not. Add 10 times more value than you do currently and prepare for the processional effect of your actions. Commit to save minimum 10% and have it deducted from your check and invested in your planned portfolio. Wow. Get some good coaching, whether you contact your Financial Destiny Group professionals or your local financial coach. Make certain that whoever works with you helps you to develop a detailed financial plan that you understand. Pick up some great financial books. There are many that can teach you how to make an intelligent, informed investment decision. Number 5, if you are concerned about your assets being under attack, take action to develop an asset protection plan. And last but not least, create a small jackpot to start the process of linking pleasure to financial success. Who could you do something special for? What could you do for yourself for as reinforcement for getting started today? I hope this is clear. I hope you understand the challenge. I will be posting this challenge in the group as well. If you find yourself stuck somewhere, if you do not understand it, any part of it, please feel free to reach out and ask me. Okay? Now that we will be doing this, we are ready to be impeccable. Your code of conduct. We are going to read about that next. All right. That's it for today. Take good care of yourself. I'm sorry for having this such a long session today, but it was important. We did not really, discuss it to that level, but I think the language was simple and understandable. Let's go into that um that let's move into that direction of understanding our finances better, understanding how to invest, how to save, how to use the money in such a way that it starts working for us. All right. All right. On that note, take good care of yourself. Take care. Good night, good morning, whatever it is in your city, your state, your country. Take good care of yourself. Lots and lots and lots of love to you. Bye bye.